Okay, welcome back to my channel. This is a reading for Cancer. I'm trying to do a little bit bigger spread on this one. I've pulled several cards on this one. I'm just going to go through everything. And if you're new to my channel, how I read the cards is I do major arcana as the big events, and then certainly anything that's minor arcana is just something that's kind of a day-to-day minutia that may be impacting you. In addition to that, would be clarifiers just to see what else is going on for the rest of the read. Sorry guys, just moving stuff around. So for those of you that are interested, follow along. And if you have a few questions, I may be able to answer depending on how much power is left in my phone. So right now I'm not sitting at full, but we'll see where things go. All right, so what I see here is you're still working through an awful lot. I would still say that this is a spread that has a lot of energetic rhythms to it. So I'm starting off with kind of your finances for the month of December, and this will be for 2025 or whenever you're finding this. So where I see things at is, I'm going to sort of break it down, is financially, as I said, these are the main cards out here. Two of Pentacles. We also have the Strength card, Ten of Pentacles. I did pull quite a few here, Five of Swords. So we'll just kind of start out with the Two of Pentacles as your main operator. It does look like things are kind of shifting in a sense of trying to manage your finances, so balancing things out. Definitely feels like you don't have everything fully under control with that, but you're still managing. So I would say there's a bit of a juggling act here. You might be working between a couple of jobs, or this is somehow trying to find a way to, like I said, find a way to sort of, make sure that everything is met. I don't know that you're striking a balance here between resources, your time, your energy, all of that, but it still feels like you might be spreading yourself a little bit too thin. But again, still have the ability to readjust for yourself, I would say, during this next little period in the month of December. So you might want to plan for it now, because I am doing this reading in November. So knowing that, in December, that there could be some financial challenges might be something just to kind of take note of and try to prepare for. All right, so like I said, what I see there is I do feel like you're pretty, challenged financially at this time, but it's not bad. I'm not saying you're in overwhelm or anything like that. You are being asked to sort of push through and endure the situation. This does feel like, even kind of going into kind of your mindset around your finances, it does feel like there is some growth that can happen here, but it does take some planning. The Strength card is an indicator that there's still some choices here, but there is kind of an internal struggle that's going on to some extent. I do feel like there may be some financial, hi Rachel, some financial assistance or something here that's more at a longer term, over a longer haul, like it's over a longer span of time. I'm good. How are you? But the Ten of Pentacles, like I said, it does speak to, money that's coming in further out. It's more of a long-term sort of situation. So it's not in your immediate future, but it is still there in the future, even though the energy is present there. So the Five of Swords, sorry, I've got a cat that's cycling through the room here. I might have to let her out. But even with the Five of Swords, like I said, there's still some element of conflict or tension. There's some kind of necessary change that's required in December. So we will leave that one kind of open for interpretation. So in December, like I said, still a little bit of challenges around that. I would say, and because there's a five there, and you do have two fives in this reading, there was a Five of Swords, Five of Wands. It does indicate that there is, again, some kind of necessary change that's going to have to take some kind of measure of change in around your mental mindset as well as your physicality, what you do. But either way, I see Seven of Cups as an internal struggle of some sort. So there's choices, but you want to make sure that you do something with integrity in this situation. Just because I had some other cards coming out that were more authoritative cards, so trying to keep that balance. Now, the Page of Pentacles, of course, is normally a kind of work or some kind of situation that might be coming in, but it is in reverse. So I would say that there is possibly something here that may be either put on hold or that is not taking place. It does feel like it's in around the workspace. So maybe something is put on hold for a particular reason in December. Oh, thank you. I look very kind. How can you see my face? But anyway, like I said, it feels like something put on hold here for sure. So again, there is some work here, there is some mastery, some persistence, but there's also something here about that might be a little bit further out. Just because something about that is put on hold. I'm not saying it's not happening, but work somehow looks like there's a pause there, yet still availability. So the Wheel of Fortune, of course, is a big change. It does indicate usually something quite positive. There is something here that kind of speaks to something completing, but it's like you're balancing out that chaos because you are completing a major financial cycle and it's a personal cycle. But there's a lot more optimism that goes with this particular card. It's like you're returning. You're returning at the end. I know it sounds weird to say. Five of Wands. Again, there's the five that I mentioned earlier. There's something between a push-pull and a struggle. I feel like it's more around yourself and with set. But I would still say that the cards that were coming out with that Two of Pentacles and the Three of Wands still indicates further out there is going to be some more balance there, but I feel like money this month might be a little bit late for resources in December. So money may be coming in, but it's stretched. And I feel like you're learning to prioritize better and exercising some of that inner discipline and courage just to stay steady. It does show maturity and restraint, even if things are stressful, but I don't feel like it's a collapse of any sort. The Ten of Pentacles, again, it could be family support, long-term wealth potential, but wanting stability for sure. And I feel like you're motivated to build a secure future. So you're pausing of this place in around family or something like that as well, or legacy. But there's something about that that's on your mind here. Now, the Three of Wands does mean there's a pause, something that's further out about this the world, big change, even something that's related around. Because the World card can represent doing something on the internet, something that's a little bit more global, networking, that kind of thing. But I feel like there's some illusions or indecision, things that you might be dreaming about or success, but it needs to have some kind of grounding with that Seven of Cups. So I feel like your temptation is to spend a lot of time on distractions to escape reality, possibly emotionally in December. But with that Page of Pentacles reversed, it's almost like a level of immaturity with money, or a delay with money, or procrastination, or that you're ignoring the practical opportunity that could be coming in your way. And so it's suggesting that you need to focus more on your work ethic in financial matters. And of course, that Eight of Pentacles. Aw, thanks, Rachel. Back at you. But also, again, with that Eight of Pentacles, it's like an excellent recovery card. So whatever your efforts, whatever your skill development, it could be something here with consistent effort that will pay off for you, whether this is job, study, or personal improvement. Now, again, with that Wheel of Fortune and the World card, these are further out. They're not in the immediate. They're not in the immediate yet because they're all clarifiers, but this is where things are headed. So again, I feel like you're envisioning your next step, possibly doing some planning in the month of December, preparing for January. There is more of an expansion with that card with the Three of Wands, and then with the World, that's the completion where things come full circle. So it's like you finish a project or a phase of something, where whatever that financial struggle was. So on the upside, there is the Star, and the Star, of course, is the card of healing. The card, and this may be why things are delayed, but the Star is hope restored. It's healing, it's faith, it's clarity about your direction again, and then you start believing in yourself. This is not exactly where everything is in the month of December. What it does indicate, because these are the cards that are clarifiers, but it is something that is coming in over the course of time. So right now, your immediate energy is there is a little bit of a struggle. There is some family dynamic that is going to assist, but I do feel a little bit resource, but you are still making those plans, like I said. So it's not like things are not being looked after. You do have some, I do feel like you have some resources available to you. And again, with the Ten of Pentacles, that does indicate is something that's there. And again, with the Page and the Eight, something there along the lines of, not seeing an opportunity where one is, or not, or you're putting a pause on something. So now we're getting into, let's see, I pulled quite a few cards here. So let's go into, actually, with these ones here, I also want to just sort of take that into your well-being overall, and, your eating habits or physical, all of that, because this is a period where there is some brief stress for you. The Five of Wands and the Seven of Cups that came up here also does point to some irregular habits, skipping meals or poor focus on nutrition during this emotional or social. Sorry, I was just reading comments there. But it's like I said, there's some focus on nutrition during this emotional or social chaotic period. It feels like you need to focus more on that. And like I said, seeing the strength card out there is also an indicator to me that, this is something that you need to focus on, because I feel like you will have some kind of eventual stabilization with that 10 and with the 8 of there up there as well, with the 8 of Pentacles. But I feel like you might pull yourself together mid to late December, possibly improving your eating habits, regaining motivation, something along that line. And it feels like the emotional stress, might be affecting you in the earlier part of December. So it's like December is a turning point of some sort, in terms of finances and mindset. So I feel like you are still, like I said, juggling responsibilities, but through perseverance, you start to find some resources and what's available to you. If things were, of course, were really bad for some of you, there's always food banks and those things out there too. I think and I know in Canada, I think it's like a 20-day wait or something, I was told from some people, but for sure you do what you can, right? So, but either way, there's internet, online things that you can do as well. So for extra cash. But either way, there's strength and persistence and eventual clarity in the month of December. And again, you'll find more stabilization the further along into December that you are. So I feel like you are, like I said, balancing limited resources starting out, but you're learning discipline and self-worth with that strength card. You're working to develop a new skill, something like could be coming through with that 8 of Pentacles there as well. Something new that's coming in there, but you are shifting into a more fortunate flow with that Wheel of Fortune. So things are further out in that domain, but it is going to look good. So again, you've got a long cycle of struggle or confusion, but you are completing it. So you are very close to completing that struggle period. So you will then start to find more hope and direction and a renewed sense of self, especially when we get to, because there are positive cards, then there is negativity in this set of cards around finances. So no severe crisis or anything. It just feels like a temporary friction, but I feel like you'll get through it. You're going to be stronger. You're going to be wiser because of it, and better planning with your financial habits will emerge because of this situation. So it's like a diamond, as they say, diamonds are formed by, being pushed and being crushed into solidify into the diamond. So that's why I say sort of the same idea with this. You won't know what you're capable of until you're pushed into a certain limit beyond what you're comfortable with. So that's what I see happening there. So again, even on a rough timeline, I would say, the first week of December, it might be where you shift from the stress, things start to improve. There's luck, things that will start to unfold in that first week. But I feel like it's a very meaningful time for you because it helps you it points to kind of a slow, but reopening of connection to even again to situations around family dynamics here as well in the month of December. There is possibly still a little bit of friction or conflict or confusion around that, and not wanting to maybe move forward in a particular way, but I would still say you're still working on yourself at this point, still working on yourself in the month, emotionally, practically, but it does show a lot of effort and routine and self-improvement. Because the 8 of Pentacles is not a passive card. It means that you're trying, but even if it's quiet. So there's some kind of reconnection that begins with your own internal work. You start to build stability and confidence before you actually reach out. That's what I would say there. Now, I'm just trying to see what else I had here. Sorry guys, I'm looking for my next set of cards because I did pull quite a few here that were in around. Just looking for my card. Where was it? Queen of Wands. I know I had out here. Give me 1 second. Almost there. Like I said, there is some good cards here, but there's also some challenging kind of things here as well. Oh, here it is. Okay, so we're going to go into the next ones here. So the next one is, okay, so we have the Queen of Wands here. Now, the Queen of Wands is definitely an indicator that, there's some forward movement here. I do feel like in terms of connections or people around you this month, it feels a bit strained, as though you don't want to come forward yet because it's almost like you're still working on yourself. But again, emotionally, it's still showing some effort, some routine, some self improvement, because the Eight of Pentacles wasn't a passive card. But in terms of what's happening with the Queen of Wands, this represents somebody's warm, strong, radiant, could be a maternal energy as well. And could be just nurturing your own energy. But there is something here that invites more compassion and confidence building rather than pressure. So there's something here that you're doing in terms of creating a routine for yourself. Maybe you start exercising. Maybe you start making a planner. What's your 1 month goal? What's your, 3 month goal? What's your year goal? What are the areas of your life that you want to work on? When you write things out, it certainly does create more of a solidity, because when you keep it in the mind, you generally tend not to act on it. But when it's written out, there's more of an adherence to, follow through. So, like I said, Queen of Wands, it just feels like it's more confidence building in this month as well. Three of Pentacles, you're upgrading that in some way here also. Actually, maybe I'll bring that down there if that'll hold. Maybe not. So, like I said, the Three of Pentacles is that card of collaboration and rebuilding and teamwork. So, there could be other people involved in helping you to build up that confidence. There also may be some kind of small communication or a meeting or a cooperative gesture or something. It's not whoever it is that you're trying to connect with here as well. It not be a full connection because of that Nine of Swords, meaning there may be a reaching out of a phone call or something, but it's like it's not a full reunion or reconnection. It's just progress towards it, is what I would say here. Now, the bottom card here. That was what our Eight of Pentacles was. The bottom card was the Fool. Now, the Fool is always that card of a new start, new beginning, something fresh coming in. So I feel like how you choose to approach these reconnections seems to be the new mindset. You're learning to let go of the past. You're learning to move forward with openness. But there's also that uncertainty that comes through, because the Fool clears away old karmic heaviness, and it really invites a lightness and some kind of innocence that comes back in. So I would say kind of the emotional timeline for all of that and reconnections with those that are important to you. I would say early December. That's kind of where that Eight of Pentacles sits. You're still focused on daily effort and regaining a sense of worth or rhythm, a routine. You're not yet reaching out, but you're preparing yourself mentally to do so, something along that line. Nine of Swords, like I said, is still an indicator there that there's a reserve around things, because there's a bit of an emotional intensity that arises, and that might be early December here, or actually more mid-December, I would say. But yeah, something mid-December on that line. It just feels like you're reflecting on the past, and then there's a pain, and then there's a miscommunication, and then all of a sudden you're wanting this connection, but you're fearing the rejection, and it just feels like you start to put pressure on yourself again. But when we get to, like I said, the Queen of Wands and that Three of Pentacles, I would say by closer to mid, more late. I'll see what I can do at the end here. I kind of got a few cards I'll go through here, but we'll see how much power is left on my phone. But for sure, we'll see what I can do, JBC. So yeah, so right here, like I said, it feels like you're drawn to reconnect, especially to something that is more of a warmth. Maybe it's a stable family figure or a person, but either way, there's some kind of communication or cooperation that becomes possible here because of the Queen of Wands with the Three of Pentacles. So, like I said, Fool card at the end of December, it just feels like there's more of a reset or a potential reset. Again, choosing how you choose to act on it, but there's more of a small gesture or a message or even a visit, but there's some kind of a new cycle of a beginning here. So I would say by December, there is healing in motion. There's real healing in motion. I feel like you're working hard on yourself and your emotions. And I feel that even though there's regret or worry, it actually still shows, caring and wanting peace. And it certainly feels like there's more certainly feels like there's more of a safe point of reference. So again, to whoever the Queen of Wands may represent to you, this may be fiery figure, somebody who's really charismatic, things along that line. But I feel like that is moving in a more positive direction here. So either way, actually, I wonder if I can put this down if it's too close. Oh, too close to the camera. Right. Okay. Let me see what else I can do there, guys. But yeah, either way, I still feel like things are still moving in a positive direction. So again, with that full new fresh start, but collaboration, and it's like rebuilding trust step by step. So again, it's a very slow reconnection, likely in December. Very gradual, not dramatic reunion. It's emotionally building, learning how to trust again, things along that line. Even though there is a moment of intensity, which, you know, things could get a little awry there for that moment. So overall, I feel like how you relate to people in the month of December is that you're, you know, it's a very emotionally complex time for you because there is deep transformation in how you relate to people. But I feel like, you know, the cards are almost kind of awakening, but still in self-protection mode. So I feel like your feelings are kind of swing between hope, exhaustion, and then there's this renewal. So there's something there about shedding all the old social energies and illusions. And gosh, no, kitty cat. But there's something there about breaking false belongings to more authentic connections in your life. So I think you're very focused on what's real and what's meaningful and what's important to you and what's more positive to build your future framework and foundation up. So now we're going into let's go to this one here. The Six of Pentacles, that's a card that's in reverse. So I would say because of that, with next to the World card, next to the Four of Wands, next to Cups, and then the Nine of Wands. There's a lot of perseverance. There's still movement on the emotional front, certainly on your foundation, around your foundation, family, milestones being met. There's something here around... this one emotionally, it feels like you feel like maybe friendships have been unequal, something like that. And I feel like maybe you feel like you've been giving more in some way. And so it's like you're seeking completion of something here with the World card. Sorry, I keep thinking that that's going to work or some here. Anyway, it's like you're seeking completion in some way with the World card. Like you really want real stability here, is what I would say. And I feel like you're very emotionally guarded, even though the Knight of Wands tells me, or sorry, the Nine of Wands is the guard, but the Knight of Cups tells me you still want to reach out to love or be loved, that kind of thing. But there's something here about, you know, wounded heart or being hurt and very defensive in some way, or feel like you're going to be misunderstood again, something like that. And then we have the cards of the Queen of Swords followed up by the Chariot. And I did pull quite a few on this one. So I would say with the Queen of Swords, sorry, still trying to be masterminding here. I would still say with the Queen of Swords and that Chariot, right now it's like you're analyzing people, but sharply. You're almost putting too much weight into criticism over, you know, really allowing... It's like you're more you're possibly even cutting more ties, you know, emotionally and detaching to move forward. But it's like you're regaining control after the chaos. So that maybe you are right now with the decision making with the Chariot. I want to say that the Eight of Cups here is still that card of, especially next to the Queen of Cups, lots of emotional cards here. So there's something here again about carrying heavy emotional burdens, but it comes from an internal breakthrough. So there's something there, like I said, of a collapse of old patterns. And because it's followed by the Sun and the Tower, and it's like you're able to create again, but there has been a complete truth that had to burst through. So it's like you're revealing who you're looking at people saying, who are my real allies, you know, and it's painful, also freeing. So that Magician energy with the Seven of Pentacles, and below that was the Moon. It means that you're still kind of working through that. Like there's not a lot of clarity yet. Oh, wow. That's good to know. Hi, Caitlin. But I do feel like, you're manifesting some new beginnings here for sure with the Magician, but you're still unsure how. You're experimenting with who you want to be in friendships and watching to see what grows. So the Moon shows fusion, but there are some trust issues for sure here, doubt and perhaps hidden motives, in others that you sense. And hello. Hi, Caitlin. But I feel like that's what you're working through, is you're in a place of isolation of some sort here with the Five of Cups, and it still feels like then there's sudden clarity in some way. So you go from isolation to sudden movement, but then you feel left out or lonely in some way. But communication or insight still coming in really quickly because we have the Eight of Wands. So there's a lot that's coming in for you. That's helping you to figure things out a lot faster because you've got the Hierophant here. So that's the card of all the queens. That's the hidden mystery card coming off a little bit aloof. So people will misunderstand you if you're pulling back and not open and sharing things so that they can read you better. So it does mean that easier to have miscommunication. Not saying that you have to put everything out on the table, but it's certainly people like to know, that it's safe for them to to come into your life as well in some way. But isolation and then sudden movement, like I said, even though you feel left out, there's communication or insight that comes in quickly, which then shows deep intuition that is helping you to lead the way. So you know what will fit you and what will not fit you, is what I would say there. Now, I would still say, the next card's out, Five of Cups. Again, there's still that energy of grieving losses, like not really conflicted about who you can trust. You're a little leery of betrayal. And especially too, because the Two of Swords is kind of a stagnant card, and the Seven of Swords, it's like you're at an impasse. You feel stuck. You're not really sure what decision to make, but it's also a card of decision. So Seven of Swords, like I said, you're feeling like, you can't really trust people, but it's almost like with that Fool card that was initially underneath. Hi, Andrea. But the Fool card that was underneath is the reset. It's a clean slate socially, emotionally. So it's like you're ready for an honest connection, but you're starting over cautiously. So right now, I feel like you are emotionally drained by old or fake relationships. You're protective of your energy. Your trust is fragile. I feel like you have this desire connection, and then you want something that's going to add value, not take it away from you. You do feel lonely at times. There is, you're sensing a fresh start that's near, and you are hopeful, but you're cautious about rebuilding your social circle uh, from a place of truth and knowing what you want from those relationships. What is good for you, what is not good for you. You don't want to do things out of habit. That's where I feel your mindset is. Oh, hi, Caitlin. Oh no, I mean it's there's some people that will actually meditate on the cards, and I think they get a deeper meaning in a different sort of way. I sort of taking things on more of a practice basis, but I think when you meditate and have the time to do more that way, I think you can get a lot more insight out of things too. But this is more of a general read either way. But yeah, overall, I still feel like this is a good card, like a good set of cards, but I feel like you'll attract friends eventually that will match your deeper values. People with empathy, people that are interested in truth, people that have emotional reciprocity, have more of an interest in a strong foundation. And, people that have more interest in your same, I don't want to say exact same values, but those that, thank you for the hearts, but those that seem to have more self respect, something along that line. Now, I would say, sort of what are the positives, I guess, because we did do a lot along the heavier energies there. Some of the positives that are coming in for the month. Now, it's kind of an odd thing to say because you've got the Tower in here. There's the Emperor, the Page of Cups, the Tower, the Six of Wands, Six of Pentacles, Judgment, Four of Swords, Three of Cups. Sorry, I know I'm going through them pretty fast. Queen of Wands, Two of Swords, overall, this does feel like energy of you taking control of your life again. So it's like a strong awakening after a real shakeup. Because the positives here aren't surface wins. This is you, this is inner mastery. This is somebody who's walked the walk, how do they say? Um, Walked the talk, talk the walk the talk, something like that. So whatever you're talking about, you're actually doing, you're implementing things. So I do feel like, you have come to this place of empowerment or feeling like you're in control of things on some level, or this point of mastery, emotional maturity and recognition, and you're being seen more so that way because you've done some genuine healing after tension and confusion. Because when you break it down, this is stability, this is structure, this is self-control. And this is definitely that card of returning to a place of responsibility, setting boundaries. This is someone who brings order where there's chaos, and that can mean better choices, self-discipline, could be a father figure or authority that's, in some way represented here as well, or it can be, as I say, yourself. Aries is also Emperor energy, but I feel like it's an emotional renewal and a reconnection with real, genuine feeling. I feel like it was an intense sort of process for you to get there, though, because the Page of Cups means what's coming in, or the communication was perhaps there is a tower in the month of December, something that does shake you up and really, gets a little bit crazy there. But oddly enough, here's the Six of Wands. You're conquering whatever the situation is. You've taken some kind of victory back where you're seen as appreciated or you're being rewarded for something. So again, this can be personal progress as well on a lesser scale, but it is still an expression of, acknowledgement for the effort. Like you've done something right here. You've taken back control over the tower. Now, the Six of Pentacles could be dealing with someone that's from the past, but it is more of a flow of generosity. So there could be receiving, to balance things out, maybe even financially here. That was the card you got, the Tower. Oh, yeah. Oh, I was just reading Caitlin's remark there. But yeah, the Tower, like I said, something has been restored despite there's a real shakeup in the month of December. So I feel like you'll experience some support, financial or emotional, and you'll learn to share from a healthier place now. So there's something more positive there about harmony restored in your relationships after some kind of exchange. It's all around the Tower, which helps to right things again. And that Judgment card means there's a sense of awakening, forgiveness, renewal. It's a call to a higher purpose. It represents a personal resurrection. It's where you forgive yourself or your family, it could be friends, family, whatever, but you're seeing a path forward with more clarity. It's like a true awakening, and it has to do with something around the past for sure. But again, there's still that period of rest and recovery with the Four of Swords. So after that emotional turbulence, I feel like you find some peace, and then you show some inner calm. There's mental healing. You might be starting to sleep better, thinking more clearly. There's like a mental restoration and an emotional recharge that kind of resets you. The Three of Cups, now this could be, because the Tower is something emotional. Could be also dealing with a father and a younger person here as well. Oh, I appreciate that, Caitlin. There is peace and love. Yeah, get some sleep for sure. I'm a night owl, so I'm good with the late hours. But Three of Cups again. This is some sense of celebration coming back in. Now this could be drinking too. This could be, but either way, I feel like there's a sense of exhaustion because of it. So if this is socially drinking, you could be feeling that sense of exhaustion because there's a place of healing that has to take some precedence here. But either way, I feel like there's a sense of reconnection with a few supportive people here. Queen of Wands, there's more leadership, confidence, feeling more inspired, self-assured again, creative, nurturing. This could be you or somebody else that uplifts you, that's more courageous or warm. So it's like a renewed motivation or a belief in yourself in some way. And the last card out is the Two of Swords. It's like you're at a decision point in Ember. So in summary, I feel like you're choosing peace over avoidance. You're realizing that you can't stay frozen in indecision anymore. It's like awareness is here. Awareness is dawning. So it's like the clarity is coming through in the month of December. You're finally seeing your next step clearly. So I feel like you are in some kind of in rebirth. That's what the Judgment and the Tower was. It shows that the old blocks are collapsing and you're starting to live from, what you believe your truth to be instead of live fear. There is something here, like I said, that does indicate some kind of emotional growth, because the Page of Cups with the Tower is here, and that Six of Wands, and this was the starter card, was the Major Arcana Emperor. So you're back on top, learning to live or to give and receive in balance again, in terms of love connections. Doesn't have to be romantic. But I feel like your connection and recognition with that Six of Wands, Three of Cups, it's like a little victory. It's some kind of celebration or a moment of being appreciated for who you are. But I feel like, again, there's a momentary pause. That's what this is. This is a momentary pause for you to choose differently this time, to do so with insight. So in December, I would say that it's breaking down the old patterns. That was the Tower. There's a rise in your sense of belief in yourself and what you're capable of handling with the Emperor. And there is a return of more emotion for you. Your heart space is starting to open up a little bit here. And I feel like there is a reward or a healing, a victory coming in. And again, there's also something here that kind of speaks to you still needing to rebuild, still needing to heal. That decision process is still here in the month of December. In a couple, like the Judgment card and the Two of Swords, the decision is being made in December. So despite the fact that, there's a truth coming to light here where you can start to rebuild, this is where you're making the decision. I can't live frozen forever. I have to replace the fear. And, love replaces defensiveness. Structure replaces chaos, So that's where I feel you're at. I feel like by month end, you'll feel stronger, clearer, and you'll be quietly proud of who you have become, actually. And so I feel like you have the support there to feel better about things as well. And that Fool card came in there several times. So like I said, if it's a new chapter, a fresh start with people, more open to meeting new energy. More so on the end of December, so probably into January is where you really start to have more full contact on that basis. But I feel like you're much more independent. You're learning to stand on your own, but cautiously opening to connection. You're not fully anchored in community, but you are emotionally resetting and starting to trust again. Just finding my other cards here, guys. Just a couple more to go through here. So the Four of Pentacles, like I said, this one is really a protective energy, privacy of the heart, holding back. I feel like people are available to you, but you're still keeping people at arm's length. So you're afraid of being vulnerable or losing control, but there are some support systems here, even though you're struggling to let anybody close. The fact is we've got King of Cups, your energy coming through Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio, water sign present, however that resonates for you. And we also have the Empress further out over here also. So still a lot of some mature energy popping in here, even though there's some immaturity around the financial aspects of things. But I would say that King of Cups tells me that there's more compassion, or this could be a mentor, counselor, older friend, somebody, family figure, somebody who truly cares or listens with empathy. So again, it's more stable. This is the positives, like it's more stable emotional support present, somebody who understands you without judgment. So I would say, because this is next to water sign, father figure, also next to Libra, Gemini, Aquarius, King of Swords, it's like a second supportive influence, rational, grounded, somebody who's possibly authority figure, a mentor, somebody who gives clear advice or structure. Could represent guidance through discipline or practical wisdom as well, in addition to that. But either way, it's like a mental, strategic guide that helps to balance out the emotional aspect of the King of Cups. So I feel like you do have a support network. It's not loud, it's not crowded, it's quality over quantity. In your case, I do feel like the energies are, compassionate listener, somebody who's emotionally available. There's also somebody here that's logical, fair, could be teacher, therapist, coach, older family members, because they're both mature cards. But it feels like you're moving into a new stage of your social aspects in this period, or at least you're opening yourself up to it. Hi, Nancy. So again, I feel like you're still guarded because that's just an old instinct with the Four of Pentacles to hold back, even from those who want to help you. But that support exists. So it's up to you to allow that in. You're still in the process of working through that, is what I would say there. But again, overall, I feel like you know you're not alone. There is a real insistence to try to do things on an independent basis, but you do have the potential here to really make some strong connections, especially too when I see so much passionate, nurturing qualities, nurturing energy, mature energy. You have good, you're getting it from good resources. So the Empress, like I said, could be maternal energy, mother figure, anybody who represents as somebody who's really nurturing and all of that. But it is a warmth, creative, abundant energy. So I feel like you attract caring people toward you, especially nurturing or emotionally intelligent, women or females as well, in particular, because there's a genuine kindness that comes in here that's entering your life. That's drawn to your energy. And again, this could be a relationship, romantic or otherwise, but I feel like there's something here of a new energy that has emotional growth, and that's going to help bring you out of isolation. You're really hesitant, and it's almost like despite that, you kind of feel mentally uncertain and you're trapping yourself and you want to rebel or step back and you don't want to move forward. You're not really ready to fully trust here, but that's your own mental cage. It's not real. There's no real obstacle here. But I feel like when good people appear, you hold back with anxiety, guilt, and self-doubt. But the positive, because this is the positives that are coming in, is that there's an awareness of those fears and you're ready to free yourself. You're starting to see your own mental walls. And even though it's the moon, it's only partly here, it does indicate that you have heightened sensitivity. You're more intuitive, highly intuitive this month. And that helps to accelerate your healing. But I definitely feel like there's more depth to you this month. You're very acute. Your senses are very acute, to what's going on around you. And that helps to reinforce that Empress energy, the nurturing tone of things. So a lot of feminine energy there, especially with the Queen of Cups coming in here as well. So again, close female friend, counselor, emotional ally, whatever this is, it's, this person sees your vulnerability and is offering compassion without pushing you. So I feel like this person is going to offer some kind of emotional safety. And I feel like it helps to guide you in some way, because you found somebody who truly understands you. So when we get to the bottom of the deck here, that's the Knight of Wands. It's kind of an in and out energy. It's not fully secured, but it does indicate that there is a renewed motivation. So it may not be consistent, but this inconsistency is probably what you need right now just because you're not fully ready to engage. So early December, like I said, I feel like you've got some kindness or opportunities for reconnection, but you're hesitant, afraid to be vulnerable. Mid-December, that was the Moon, Queen of Cups. That's where the emotional reflection starts to deepen. A lot of heightened intuition. So that's going to help you to learn to figure out people a little bit better. But I feel like you're going to choose better quality people around you, because that'll give you a comforting sort of feeling of trusting again as well. But Knight of Wands, late December, your courage reawakens. You step out of your shell. You're willing to be more social, show more warmth, take more initiative. So yes, I do feel like you're making some positive connections in December. And again, there's more nurturing, emotional connections, a lot of mature energy around you. So this could be somebody who's older than you that could be involved, you could be involved with as well. Feels like you're moving past this inner fog. That Knight of Wands is you kind of reigniting socially, emotionally, feeling more alive, expressive. You're ready to connect here. So like I said, I just feel like you are going to be drawing people to you that are more mature energy. And like I said, I feel like you're finding a way to let down your guard a little bit and be more loving or supportive, or let people meet you halfway, because the trust is starting to reignite, although it's not full on, but it is something that's occurring here in the month of December. So I'm going to read the last cards out here, which are the Nine of Cups. So there is something here that's bringing you a sense of happiness in the month of a lot of joy, a lot of happiness, something of emotional wishes coming true, that kind of thing. So I feel like, and it's the main card out, the rest are just clarifiers. So there's something here that you've had a quiet longing for. whether home, whatever home is for you, because that abundance is there, but there's something here that makes you very happy. Queen of Pentacles could be an King of Pentacles. However, Devil is also here at the bottom of the deck. So it does still tell me that there is something here that's representing as comfort and relief for you, like a quiet longing for peace and contentment and reconnection. But there's also, again, lots of strong, nurturing, maternal, practical, caring, stable kind of energy. But I still feel like there's something here that is about independence and being strong and, you know, wanting to, something about self-reliance, not wanting to, you want comfort, but because there's a lot of practical energy here about resources and independence, but there's something here again with the devil energy that this is things that hold you back, things that are tempting, things you want, but it's almost like your own resistance or unhealthy patterns are coming here as well. So I would still say you overall, there is an inner block that you're wrestling with in terms of, this can be the card of addiction. This can be of feelings of guilt, fear, judgment, anything like that. But it's next to all these independent cards and wish fulfillment. So it's like you're kind of your own worst enemy here, especially when it came through with the words. But once you get out of your own way, I feel like you will secretly get what you want if you just don't allow yourself to, if you can work through whatever the chains are that bind you with that devil energy. So you may not be admitting what that devil energy is, but you have a lot of grounded practical cards here that are strongly balancing out that energy because they dominate over top of the devil energy. So I feel like you're already moving into a more positive mindset by the end of December. Okay, so that's what I have. I'm going to do one more because I've got I got to plug the phone in, but I'll do one more read. Somebody asked a question here. Sorry, I'm just going back. JBC. Okay, I just got to separate the cards because I did intermix the two decks, just so I didn't get too off track with just one. Sometimes there's just not enough cards with all the details in them. So anyway, okay, so just a quick one for JBC. What is coming in for JBC for the month of December? What's coming in for JBC for the month of December? What are the energies coming in for JBC for the month of December? Career, money, finance, relationships. Okay, what's the Seven of Pentacles? What's the Eight of Wands? What's the Strength card? JBC, looks like there's some struggle going on for you for sure. Okay, the cards do indicate that, let's see, let's do it this way. Okay. Strength card, Two of Pentacles, Eight of Wands, Three of Cups, Seven of Pentacles, Four of Swords, bottom of deck, Five of Wands. Just looking at it here for a second. Career, money, finance, relationships. Okay, I'm going to say because the Strength card is out here, I kind of think the dynamic is more around your finances. I mean, there is something that's coming in here around something to sell, something that's going to be quite positive for you, but I feel like you're sitting on something, waiting for something. So Hi, Andrea. I appreciate that. You are so sweet. But yeah, the strength card, like I said, I feel like where that one is at is that it has something to do with your career. It feels like you're managing a lot maybe right now. A lot of projects or shifting your priorities or but it's something that you need to endure because the strength card is a card of endurance and again, Two of Pentacles is trying to adjust to everything. So multiple responsibilities, multiple jobs, but something along that line. There is quick news or progress or something that's coming in with the Eight of Wands. And again, like it's a celebration, something that you want, something that's arriving fast. Could be something you're already sitting on, waiting on because of the Seven of Pentacles, Four of Swords. Something that you weren't really feeling positive about or that it was going to go anywhere. But I feel like that momentum builds after a slow period. So I feel like there's an added acceleration with that Eight of Wands. Like it's quick news or an opportunity arriving fast. So the momentum kind of builds there. There is more of inner confidence or something here that something here that stabilizes through the finances, through patience. You've already kind of planted these things are already kind of in motion. So, like I said, it feels like something you've been waiting on, and it's almost like a recovery phase or something that reminds you to don't force things, rest it out or slow it down, because you've already invested something here, and now it's just a matter of letting it play out. There is still something of a pause before the next step, but I feel like if you're careful, you can preserve what's growing. There's also, again, that energy of the Three of Cups. So that was what's coming in really quick with the Eight of Wands. So to me, that's an indicator of some kind of event that you might be attending here as well, or emotional support, but it's good company. So either way, it's like a reconnection or something here of a social event that comes in quick. There might be, because of that Five of Wands at the bottom of the deck, there could be some underlying tension here in a small disagreement or competitiveness in relationship of some sort, or for this position or something you may be waiting on. But there is still a positive social interaction that will return, but you need to kind of have some boundaries around it. Don't let others be dramatic or make it a dramatic thing to pull you off balance. So there's something still genuine here that will outweigh any conflicts, because all the cards to me show that there's endurance and quite a lot of positivity. It's just that there's a little bit of friction there. So it's like you balance things out after rest or after a pause, and you've got a lot of you're cutting to the energy, but there will be fast progress, like I said, with that Eight of Wands. There's going to be fast progress towards something that's going to be more of a celebration or social event that somehow impacts your progress on something. So I feel like things are low. You're adaptable with the Two of Pentacles, and this is restoring things emotionally for you on some level. So like I said, either way, I just feel like that Four of Swords is kind of teaching you some patience and peace. But again, there's something with the small conflicts that is going to try to throw you off in a situation, possibly in a social situation. So just try to stay above those small conflicts. That's what I see there. So hopefully that gives you a little insight over the next little bit. I got to plug in my phone. Anyway, keep moving forward, guys. Never give up. It's not how good you are, it's how good you want to be. Stay tuned for the next read once I get this powered up again. Take care.